Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cinema Savvy News. It is me, George, doing the intro, not Chris, because that's basically our intro every week now, where I say it's not Chris, it's George, because it still is to this day very weird doing intros of him on the chat in the corner there. So, hi, people. For those joining us live stream, welcome. For those joining us late, and you may have guessed off our thumbnail, the main focus of today is the Spider-Man Homecoming news, because there's a lot of Homecoming news, but in all honesty, it's been a dead week for news. And we're still here, though. There's a lot of stuff to go through. There's still a lot of news, just not big news like Han Solo stuff last week. There's a lot of film trailers. God, oh my God, there's a lot of film trailers. That's why we're half an hour late. And there's also box office breakdown and previews to go through for this week. But yes, welcome to episode of the news. I believe this is our 4th episode, and let's just say that this could be a fun one. Not as fun as last week, but it's definitely going to be a lot shorter. So I'm going to give it to Tate for the first one.
Yes, the Academy, those people who do the Oscars, have issued 774 invitations for new members, 39% female, 30% of color. Now, this basically means that they're trying to get more diversity within the people who vote for the Oscars. And in doing so, they've issued 774 new invites out, and quite high percentages of people, but actually, when you think about it, that's actually in proportions really low if they wanted to boost up the numbers. You've already got a large set of the Academy, which is predominantly white males, and they're not really introducing too much more diversity. They're just adding in more members, some of which are diverse. This, I believe, it's a difficult issue. I feel like what they should really do is just have a proportion of the population, take the population of either that local area or the American population, seeing as it's the American awards ceremonies, and they should have the statistical proportions of them. So say there was, I don't know, 50% male, then you'd have 50% male voters. Whereas if you had like 75% female voters, then you should have 75% of the female population. I think this is not news.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I don't know. It is news to a degree because when it hits us, if this came out in January, then there are people like, okay, this is news now. Because it's not Oscar season. It's okay. It's
going under the radar basically.
But I think because I guess when we really think about it, it's June now. It's almost July. And it'll be September when, the trailers start coming out, the posters start coming out. They start sending off their DVDs to the voters. It's about this time of year when they really start planning things for next year. And it's just the way I see this, in honesty, maybe this is controversial. It's just a PR stunt. It's good that they've done diversity, I think, not just because I love him, but The Rock is on the not the thumbnail, but The Rock's the biggest name to have been added to the invitations this year that's now a member. There's been some more, but I didn't go into all the names and stuff, but how good's your PR if you've got The Rock on it? Because then people will think, yeah, what a man. And as much as I love him, I think it's a massive PR stunt.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yeah. Most of the people who make up the Oscar voters at the moment are ex-film directors, ex-actors, current directors, journalists, and a few members of the normal population. I think that makes up the smallest majority, the actual population. But yeah, this is them trying to kind of say, hey, look, we're adding in diverse people into the Oscars instead of just doing it and not having to make a big deal out of it, because it really shouldn't be a big deal in the first place, and yet they're making it out to be a big deal.
That's my take on it completely as well. Like, just do it. By drawing attention to it, you address the problem even more and make it a big deal. Like, just do it. Just make it happen.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid people saying, well, it's not fair, and then them having to turn around afterwards and saying, well, actually, these are the people who we brought in this year. It is more fair than we have ever had it, as far as those voting segments. But even when they had the Oscars So White thing, and this was the thing which really I just couldn't wrap my head around, the percentage of voters of the population, of colored population, was actually about the same as what it is now. I looked that up beforehand. So nothing's really changed. They've added in more voters, but I mean, if we break this down, they've added in 774 new invitations, 30% of color. That means 70% not of color. they're adding in more people of not colored than people of color.
Mm-hmm.
There's 70% are white boys, 61% are men. What's the rep of the Oscars? They're just old men, old white men in a board together, and it still will be that. I mean, the whole Oscars so white stuff was shenanigans because they're, the racist would sit there and say they don't deserve it if they're not nominated. But no, it's the outright obvious nominations which they missed out on. And then last year was great because you did have people of diversity winning. But that's the thing. This is what I said to PR, it's what you said, what Chris said. By them coming out and telling everyone that they've done this, they're making a draw to us. 2 years ago, did they tell anyone when they gave out new members? No, because there was no PR praise to get from it.
And another thing which is starting to anger me is the whole thing of people saying, well, Moonlight won the Oscar because of the response of the Oscars So White from last year. They needed a black film, basically, to win. If you watch our review on Moonlight, I think I said it. I don't know if Chris said it, but I said Moonlight's a better film, but I'd rather watch La La Land again.
That was what you said that in the review, yeah.
And I mean, taking that into account, it's meant to be the best film. So in the back of my head, I always wanted La La Land to win, and I was a little bit upset when La La Land didn't win. But rightfully, Moonlight was the better film. So there's no argument there. People saying, oh, they only did it because it was like the Oscars So White thing the previous year. No, if you watch Moonlight and you sit it side by side by La La Land, La La Land is more entertaining. I'd rather watch La La Land again. I have watched La La Land multiple times again, but Moonlight was a better film. So,
yeah, no, I think forever and always at the Oscars, they're always going to be hung up on that decision last year, how it all went down.
It made it so much worse with the whole.
Yeah. Shall we move on anyway to the next bit of news?
Yes. More politics news, this time about Russia and my man Putin. I'm only joking. Warner Bros. Are speaking to directors about a Superman Red Son movie, hence the Putin reference for those that are triggered and tweeting me abuse right now. Sorry, Trump supporters. Basically, I woke up the other day, as I do every day, checked Twitter, see what was occurring. And for those that have not seen Kong, you need to go watch Kong. The director, Jordan Vogt Roberts, he tweeted someone tweeted him saying, I know you're Batman, but you've got a massive beard and you're tweeting at 1 a.m. Obviously, in America, 1 a.m. to you guys is like 9 a.m. to us. So I was awake. And he tweeted saying, ironically, I did pitch a Red Son movie to Warner Bros., but they weren't interested. Enter Mark Miller, who you may know from writing Kick-Ass, Kingsman. He's done some amazing comics. He's done a lot of DC work, Civil War,
Can you do
on Marvel. No, that's
Alan
way
Moore.
before. That's Alan Moore. But Mark Miller's probably the most famous of the modern era of comic book writers, I guess you could say. He's created his own franchises, that says it all, to be fair, as well as Marvel and DC. And anyway, he wrote Red Son. First, I don't know what Red Son is. I know, Chris, you know technically more than me, but it's an alternate Superman story where he was, when he crash landed on Earth, it was actually in the Soviet Union, Russia. And he was raised as a communist cool guy, a communist leader. And I'm not going to get into politics. I'm about trying to make jokes that Americans won't understand about English politics. But basically, for them to make this into film is ballsy. But what Mark Miller said, that, oh my God, I've heard that they've been speaking to directors recently about this film. And obviously, Mark Miller didn't know that Jordan Vogt Roberts had been said no to. And this was for a live action film. This is the more interesting thing. They've been speaking to directors recently for a live action film, which is ridiculous. Not ridiculous, but they're doing this Superman in the DCU film. Doing a Red Son film, like it would basically be modern day Russia, is like ballsy as hell. I don't think it will happen, but Mark Miller then says, I want you to direct it because I loved Kong.
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of comic books, I always say every time that I know comic book stories. I haven't really read many comic books, but one that I have is Superman Red Son. I tend to read more Batman ones, but it was a friend who lent it me and said, this is a fantastic story, give it a read. It's a really cool alternate take on the Superman character, alternate history, and it seriously is a fantastic comic book. However, I said to you, as soon as you gave me this news and said that they're possibly going to do a live action film, I don't think it'll amount to anything based on this news, but just even the fact that they've even considered it, I think this would be better suited to one of the DC animated films. They've done some fantastic works over the years. They've even they adapted one of the biggest Batman stories with Dark Knight Returns, and this is arguably one of the biggest Superman stories now. This would work in an animated realm. In live action, I don't even know if they said it was going to tie in with the current DCU. I know they said they wanted to try and get Henry Cavill for it. If you were going to do a live action spin on it, fine, but we're in the age now of movies where everything has to time with each other in a cinematic universe, and if you did a film like this, it'd just be really confusing to do. The concept of it would be really just, you'd have to change it almost entirely so it wouldn't even have any relation to the source material. If you're going to do it in an animated film, make it faithful. You can go as crazy as you want with it. In a live action, it just wouldn't work. And I think they need to just focus on, another Man of Steel film, Justice League. They can do all that. They can go crazy with that. But this one is probably best left to the animated realm.
Not Man of Steel, Man of Sickle. This is the first read I've heard of Red Sun as far as a comic is concerned. And I have to agree with George. It sounds like a ballsy idea, and I don't think it'll happen. Even in animated form, they wouldn't want to have that kind of comparison in there, even if it is separated universe. However, give it a while, and maybe we will see it. I know that Marvel hasn't really dabbled in alternative storylines yet. They've tried to keep everything centric to its own universe. But I think in the future that Marvel and DC will look maybe towards those other storylines which run parallel with their own and try and make kind of an alternative universe film, especially with DC because they got the multiverse through Flash. So as soon as they got the Flash film done, they have the possibility to open up the gates to different film ideas. So it's one for the future, definitely, but definitely not the near future. Like, think 2020, probably mid-2020s.
A big part of the story, though, is another kind of Batman v Superman plot line. You do have Batman trying to go and hunt and kill Superman. There's a big fight there. They bring in Green Lantern. They bring in Wonder Woman as well. It's another big slanging match between all of them. Whether DC would do that again, I don't know. I don't think it will happen by the sounds of it. They've gone to Warner Brothers with the news. They've said, no, we don't want to do it. Even if it is on the cards, I don't think we're going to be seeing this for
they could work it into a current Superman storyline. I mean, I know he's going to be resurrected in Justice League, but think about it in the future, because the current Superman storyline in the comic books is that he is anti-America, I believe, or he doesn't believe in the American dream or the American way of life. So maybe he could turn into more of a kind of communist lifestyle, trying to kind of spread out the help between everyone, and that could cause maybe a bit of conflict.
We also have to think about current political relations in the real world as well. Yeah. But yeah, I don't see this being made at all.
I mean, considering that Russia owns America now, it would have made perfect sense for them to have done this, especially last time Superman died in a film that Donald Trump wasn't president. So he might have woke up in Donald Trump's America.
Screw it, just have Supergirl become communist instead.
Yeah, his cousin, Batman v Supergirl, and have a proper America. It's like Rocky 4, but with Batman.
Literally have Rocky in the film as well. And have the speech at the end where he ends the Cold War.
Well, that would instantly get me more excited about the current DC.
Do you know what? We can also have Batman doing the Rocky 4 montage.
Oh my God!
That montage.
He did. He was doing the pull-ups with the barrel.
But I want the music in the background as well. I want this to be a perfect replication of that montage, just as Batman.
Hey, you've given me an idea for a fantastic fan edit right there of that scene. I'm going to try that. I'm going to put that music over it. But speaking of Batman, actually, we've got some Batman news now, which has really got me excited. So Matt Reeves, the director of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and the upcoming War for the Planet of the Apes, he's helming the new standalone Batman film called The Batman. And he says there's a chance that it will almost be a noir-driven film, detective version of Batman. We're going to see more of that detective side to him. He is the world's greatest detective in the comic books, apparently. And it will almost be from his point of view exclusively. Now, this has got me really excited. I also heard rumors as well that in terms of tone, they want to make it a lot like the Arkham games, if anyone's played those, which to me is the quintessential Batman. It's kind of a trajectory from the animated series, modernized. It's a lot darker, and I would love to see that lifted and put into the live action. I've also said as well that Ben Affleck, although I have lots of problems with Batman v Superman and the actual adaptation and characterization of the Batman character, I didn't have a problem with Ben Affleck's casting at all. I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne and has the potential to be a great Batman with better direction. Having seen Wonder Woman now, it seems like, well, hopefully DC know what it takes to make a good film now, how to focus on character. So this Batman news has got me really interested because I want another standalone Batman film. We did the Spider-Man review yesterday, and we were talking about how we really long for the days of standalone, superhero films again. Everything has to be tied in now. I know this will be, but if it's more standalone and we get another Batman film with this director, I mean, I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. War of the Planet of the Apes is meant to be fantastic as well. Comes out in a few weeks' time. Really looking forward to that. This is the correct tone and direction to go with Batman.
Do we know who the villain is yet?
Honka Honka. No, we don't. Sorry.
Because as far as the noir field, who do you reckon would be the best villain?
I don't know, but the confirmation is that Deathstroke was cast. However, that was under Ben Affleck as director, and I believe they're doing a page one rewrite of the film. So whether Deathstroke's in or not, but Deathstroke's not big enough to carry a film. He was always going to be a secondary villain.
And the noir field, because I don't see Jared Leto's Joker being a noir villain.
If they're going with a really street-level Batman film and making it just really dark, violent, crime on the streets, Victor Zsasz might not be a bad shout because he's quite an interesting psychopathic character. He was like a cameo in Batman Begins.
Oh yeah, but you don't want
Penguin maybe.
Well, Josh Gad kept tweeting pictures of penguins, so
I really don't want Josh Gad as Penguin. I do. Philip Seymour Hoffman would have been the best casting choice as Penguin, but unfortunately.
To be honest, okay, I'm going to get a lot of hate here. When I was previously watching Gotham, I didn't mind the Penguin from Gotham.
He was probably the best thing. He was essentially the main character in that.
Yeah.
I believe now that the Joker's in it, and he's come out and says he wants to play Carnage, to which I laughed. And I didn't even open the article. That clickbait was enough for me to turn off Twitter. I don't know who they'd get. Penguin would be cool because if you're going to have Deathstroke, which I really hope, because Joe Manganiello, he is like a specimen, like literally compared to what he was in Spider-Man 1 and what he is now. Deathstroke, he would be amazing as.
Unless they have a really Riddler.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Riddler. The Riddler would be great. I mean, he's the intellectual
not like a
Batman.
Not a Jim Carrey kind of way out there one. A really down-to-earth Riddler, like really toned down.
Make it like Zodiac, like have him sending all these
Zodiac style.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
That would be interesting. Except Zodiac, they didn't actually catch the killer. Spoiler alert. I'm just excited. The Planet of the Apes was stunning. The Ben Affleck's the best thing about that film. Everything they've said about this Batman and Solo film, Ben Affleck coming out saying, "I can't direct a film." It's put it this way: Batman shouldn't direct a film by himself. It wouldn't work because he's in most of the scenes. Take the boxes, get this film out, and please make it good. And please don't spam it in with all of the other films that they're doing because they're cradling cameos, and it's just going to make it work. It's not really not going to help it. And then that's everything from the DC. I guess that's everything from DC. I think we'll get back to that later. Unfortunately, we do have the sad news for you, Karen, that the Michael Nivis passed away this week with a battle with lung cancer. For those that don't know who he is, he played the villain in the first John Wick film. He was in the original Dragon Tattoo trilogy, the Swedish versions, and he was in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I haven't seen him in a lot of things, to be fair, but as a huge fan of John Wick, that one monologue not only carried that film, but that literally gave you the character of John Wick. And I think he's someone, he's come over and he has had an input onto American films, and it's quite sad to lose another actor.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the original Dragon Tattoo trilogy. I really need to, and it's been a while since I've seen Mission Impossible 4. John Wick is the movie that I remember him from, and he was a great bad guy in that. He did play a fantastic role, and you're right, that monologue is awesome. Like, that's pretty much the scene of the first movie, arguably. Again, sad to see another great talent go.
And it's not just that. It's just another young talent who's only just breaking out. I know 56 isn't exactly young, but just breaking out onto the American scene, got a couple of films under the belt, starting to get some recognition, then taken away. So it is sad.
And moving on from that, it feels like a really weird place to put that.
It's always awkward doing a segue like that, isn't it?
We have a lot of Marvel news, and this is everything from the MCU to X-Men to Deadpool. I guess that counts as X-Men, to even more stuff. But Let's go in with the big one, and I'm going to get this right. The Infinity War trailer is due. Well, the teaser trailer is supposedly going to be released at Comic-Con on the Marvel panel on Friday, the 21st of July. That's all that's been said. That's not the real news. The real news is that we can announce that we will be doing 2 exclusive episodes of the Cinema Savvy News in July. The first one will be a special Comic-Con roundup, which will have, assuming everything from Marvel, DC, any Star Wars stuff, anything like that. We're going to have a special on the Monday that comes out. And the week before that, we're also going to be doing a special for D23. We're going to do a wrap-up of the news. They've released the schedules this week. The Friday is going to be the animation day, Saturday live-action day, Sunday is Bambi's 75th anniversary, and a Lion King special, which clearly means they're going to be announcing the rest of the cast. So stick with us in July. We'll have obviously the news every Thursday, but we will have these 2 special ones because it's probably going to be as long as any other news episode would be. Now we can really go into some. We've got a lot of Spider-Man news to get through, and this might get very loud and angry and bitter.
I've just seen the side note on this first piece of news. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So this week, Tom Holland and co confirmed that Civil War wasn't the debut of this universe's Spider-Man. The real debut of Spider-Man, let's be honest, was 2002. But no, in 2010, a film came out called Iron Man 2. And for those that can remember, I like Iron Man 2, I will say that. There's this little kid towards the end of the climax who puts his hand up like that to the screen to try and kill a robot. He thinks he's Iron Man. He's wearing a mask, and Iron Man comes and saves him. They decided to announce that was Peter Parker. Yes, because bullshit.
See, I've only seen Iron Man 2 once. I hated Iron Man 2 when it came out. I watched it once. It was basically like an extended trailer for the Avengers and wasn't an Iron Man film in itself. I don't even remember this scene. I don't remember this kid. I just saw the screenshot and all the news articles, and I was like, well, as you said, they didn't even have the rights to Spider-Man then, so how could it physically be Peter Parker? It's just fans just trying to connect it all together.
Spider-Man 4 was still in development back when that film came out.
Exactly.
This, my dear friends, is not an example of foreshadowing.
Well, I would actually love it. Oh, no, actually, you know what? Is he the next Iron Man? Because they want to put him in Iron Man in his film.
Yeah. His suit's essentially an Iron Man suit in this one because, it's created by him. You're going to have Parker on the scientific one, and he just makes web shooters but doesn't make his suit.
Wouldn't it be nice to see Rhodey, the cripple, become Iron Man? A man who cannot walk very well anymore due to trying to help out Iron Man, becoming the man who can fly but cannot walk when out of the suit.
Do you want to know what's funnier? Well, it actually ties into Iron Patriot. The original Iron Patriot was not Rhodes. It was Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
They've got the rights now. We're going to get to that later on as well. No, it's a stupid noise story. They shouldn't have come out. They should have waited for the film. If this is even addressed in the film, I really hope it is. But it was all this nonsense that, well, it was set in New York, that scene. He's at the right age to play him because he's a child. So let's connect all the dots. And no, it's absolute shit. I hate things. I love Easter eggs. Give me a good Easter egg any day of the week. But to do nonsense like that and say, we actually had this idea 9 years ago. No, you didn't. Don't go there. Just sit and pipe down.
Yeah.
Let's move on to more Spider-Man Homecoming news, shall we? Kevin Feige says Spider-Man's appearance in Infinity War is going to be more like him in Civil War. Basically, not a cameo, but a couple of minutes here and there.
Well, mind you, he was in a 15 to 20 minute long sequence.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, obviously, I think time will tell in the next Spider-Man film. We knew he's going to be in Infinity War, but clearly Part 2 is where he'll be in the majority of it. That's what.
Here's the thing: he is a backbench character. Let's be honest. As far as the Marvel heavyweights at the moment, I know it's probably the most famous Marvel character, but the universe has already been built for Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, all of those characters that have been established since the very first Avengers film. Now, bringing in more people, like I think that Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they're probably only going to be kind of in that similar kind of role. Maybe Chris Pratt and Star-Lord will take, maybe Gamora maybe as well, will take a slightly heavier role in those films. But I really do see, because there's one scene which is going to have like 30 characters on screen, I think that a lot of the characters here are going to take a backbench. There's going to be focused on maybe 3 or 4 main characters who are going to carry forward their own segment, and they're all going to combine together.
Yeah. With an ensemble like that, you've got to narrow it down. There's got to be some cut-off somewhere. And with Spider-Man, yeah, he used to be one of my favorite Marvel characters. He used to be my favorite Marvel character, actually. And then as the films have gone on, somewhat to a lesser degree, I'll see when I see Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought how much the amount of screen time he was in Civil War was probably the best amount. And if it's the same amount again in Civil War, again, it's a two-parter. We need to remember that. So I don't know if he's going to have the same amount of time. It's still a fair amount of screen time. He'll show up.
Avenging his mentor as his mentor gets ripped to shreds in the first film.
Yeah, he'll show up. He'll do some Spider-Man action. He'll drop some one-liners. It'll be fun. That's all you really need for it in these movies. And then they're going to do Homecoming 2 and 3 anyway, so we'll see more of Spider-Man in the future. I'm sure he's not going anywhere just yet.
Yeah, we know he's going to be in it. He doesn't deserve to be that headliner just yet. You know, like what Tate said, these films have been built around over at characters. Obviously, they're going to kill a couple of them off in this one, and by the time that Avengers 4 rolls around, or at least post that, Spider-Man will be one of the leaders, certainly of the next, I guess you could say, generation maybe of heroes. But yeah, he doesn't deserve to be the focus. It's not necessarily his story arc, but I am interested to see how he does fit into it. More so Guardians of the Galaxy, which I also think there will be more in part 2. But Doctor Strange is the one to keep you out for that. More Spider-Man news, which I'm going to say a couple more times. Tom Holland has come out. It was the premiere yesterday, basically, in America, so there's been a lot of interviews of cast, crew, little stories going around. Tom Holland has come out and someone asked him basically about basically having Green Goblin. They're using other descriptions, but the actual interview, the question, someone asked, is Norman Osborn going to be in these films? And his reply is, I agree with Amy Pascal. I think Spider-Man's a character. There's so many rich villains. We should be exploring people that we haven't seen before rather than those we have seen in the past.
I'm kind of torn on this because on the one hand, yeah, I completely agree. And we talked about this, how Sam Raimi wanted Vulture and Electro eventually in his films. Sony wouldn't allow it. And then eventually with Amazing Spider-Man 2. And the future ones, we're getting Vulture, we're getting Electro. So we are getting new villains like that. I do agree with that. It would be nice to see some new Spider-Man villains that we haven't seen on the big screen. That's why I'm interested to see Michael Keaton's portrayal of the Vulture. However, if they are going to be gearing up for a Sinister Six, which it seems like Sony have always wanted to, even with Amazing Spider-Man, we remember Amazing Spider-Man 2. Again, that was pretty much a trailer for a Sinister Six spin-off, and it seems like they're still dead set on that idea. If you're doing Sinister Six, you're going to have repetitions of villains. You're going to have Doc Ock again. You're going to have Sandman again. You're going to have all these characters that we have seen before merging together for a Sinister Six film. And Green Goblin as well. I mean, he is the biggest, arguably the biggest Spider-Man villain there is. It'd be like every new incarnation we get of Batman, it's like, okay, when are we going to get to the Joker? Everyone expects the Joker with Batman because he's the biggest villain, and Green Goblin is with Spider-Man. So I don't mind as long as they strike a balance and as long as they take their time with it. We've seen Sony do this again and again where they think, oh, we want to get all the villains in this movie. We'll throw 3 villains in. It convolutes it. Take your time. You've got years left with Tom Holland. Just take your time. Make the villains appear in it organically. I don't have a problem with it. But I think a mix of the two I'm fine with because they're going to do a new adaptation, new depiction of the character anyway from what we've already seen.
Yeah,
I am perfectly okay with this.
I am. I mean, it's something that, yes, they need new villains. Like I said, seeing Vulture's going to be nice. I think Shocker's in it as well, which is awesome because I mainly remember him from the actual video game from the very first film. That's showing my age.
He looks very different, though, in this new movie.
Oh,
so be prepared for that. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. He's not like the one I grew up with, trust me, for sure. I completely get why it's a very PR response. It's the right thing to say. They don't want to say who the villain is. If I'm them, I'm not pitching this universe, but in the second film, if he's going to university, introduce Harry Osborn because they originally were like uni friends, then build up to they're going to do Goblin. They basically have to. I understand why they don't want to, but he is the main villain. But if they come out and says we're doing Goblin in the next film, precisely what they did for Amazing Spider-Man 2, that didn't work because that was so rushed, abysmal, and last minute they could do that. The issue is, again, going back to the Raimi films, Green Goblin was so great in that, and he was so bad in Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like, do we do it for a third time? Well, you're going to maybe need to eventually, but you know what? Go out there, go do some new things. I love Mysterio. Putting him in a film would be ballsy, but the way I see it now is you got to look at Tom Holland. He's very young. Someone like Vulture works for this, and we're going to obviously see it when it comes out next week. But if you take your time with the villains, don't necessarily have someone, it'd be upset if you seen the Green Goblin beating the shit into him and he's like 12 years old. Build up to the really big ones like Doc Ock. I know they'll maybe do it, but they're going to do the Sinister Six film, but the whole thing's a load of hypocritical nonsense when they say we want to focus on, you know, people we haven't seen before, yet they just commissioned a Venom spin-off film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it's their chance to redeem Venom, and I'm sure they will with Tom Hardy behind it. Next bit of news, though, Kevin Feige says that Homecoming 2 is apparently going to start minutes after Avengers 4. And he says that also that Spider-Man won't be in Venom. So this is pretty much testament to what we said after we saw that interview with Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige when she said that, oh yeah, you know, Spider-Man might come into these spin-off ones. He's part of the MCU with Venom and everything, and the look on Feige's face was priceless. We did that news article last week, so it seems like straight after that interview he's just like pulled her aside and said, look, we need to hash this out. Okay, Venom is not going to be in the MCU as we know, which always strikes me as weird, because I think that Venom is an interesting character when he's coupled with Spider-Man character, so I'm not sure how a Venom film on his own is going to work. And apparently the quote says, what I think we should focus on is this Spider-Man who started in Civil War and then has this film and then will be in the Avengers movie. And we are now starting the next one, which will start a few minutes after Avengers 4 wraps as a story.
So, quick question. Can we have, like, as a screening, so we go in seeing Avengers 4, then it's an end credit scene, but it's actually the whole Spider-Man film?
I wouldn't be surprised if the post-credit scene is actually like one of the opening scenes from the Spider-Man film, actually.
I feel like I don't even know whether Avengers 4 would need a post-credit scene. I mean, it's going to be so jam-packed. I think it's going to be it won't be a happy ending, the second part of Infinity War. I think it's going to be a bittersweet ending where characters are going to be dead, but at least the main threat is gone. And I think it's going to be them dealing with the fallout of the situation. Well,
especially with this news, you were saying that you think that Iron Man's going to die in the film, his mentor figure. Yeah. If that happens in part 2 and then we lead straight into this, it picks up minutes after, it's going to be Peter Parker trying to deal with that and then become his own hero based on the teachings of Tony Stark. So I think if they've given away the ending there, pretty much.
What happens if Uncle Tony, his final words are, with great power comes great responsibility?
Uncle Tony?
Yes,
oh, God.
Uncle Tony. We know what's happening.
God. That's. I'm not gonna lie, but that is exactly how the Iron Man character is going to die. And then he's going to stroke his face and say, "My son,
my nephew."
And then he'll wake up and say, "Let's get shawarma again," because it's Marvel and they won't kill off any characters.
No. What he'll say is Martha.
Mothra.
Martha. And you just see Tom Holland going, "What the fuck?"
But he only just got to second base with Aunt May.
Oh God!
Are we going to see that in this film?
Yes, we're going to see something.
I hope so.
Iron Man just like, I'm your daddy now.
Well, he may have been your father, but I'm your daddy. I was your daddy. The thing is, I've psyched off Homecoming so much, and you know what? Like, it probably will be. It'll be fine. That's exactly what it'll be. It'll be fine with a capital F. Yeah, we'll get to that in some later reviews, but I like him being in the Avengers universe and stuff. It's the right thing to do with him. It makes him feel not necessarily fresh, but it's the right change for him rather than a third reboot of him in his own little piece. But why do they have to say it's going to start minutes after Avengers 4? Why do they have to say that? Why can't I mean, we know he's not going to die, so we don't need that, but don't say this is starting minutes after Avengers 4. Just wait a bit of time, because when Avengers 4 finishes, I'm now expecting it to like cut to black and then we wait a year for Spider-Man.
Yeah. It seems like they're just trying to ground this into the Avengers, like they're desperately trying everything they can to make this a part of the big kids. Which, you know, they should just let it happen. Just stop with all this stuff. I know they're trying to generate hype around Homecoming and all the future ones.
Well, here's the thing.
I get it, but...
Yeah, they're easing him into the character. They're having as a cameo first, a very long cameo, then having him as a kind of having his own film, but not as high-end, kind of with all of the gang of the Avengers like Captain America had in his last film. Then they're going to throw him into the Avengers, but they're going to have him low-key in the Avengers. Then Avengers Part 2, he's going to become a bigger role, and then he is going to fully form into a main stay within that universe. I still don't get Venom. First of all, it's a villain. Why are we doing a film about a villain and having a villain fight another villain? We saw how that went with Suicide Squad.
But Tom Hardy left Suicide Squad.
Yes, he did. Why hasn't he left this film?
Because maybe this one actually might be good.
But then having him as a Spider-Man villain first, which is what his character is, and then saying, "Oh, it's going to be a standalone film. It's going to be completely separate from the universe, and Spider-Man isn't even going to be in it."
I know. Yeah.
It's like saying here we go. It's like taking what's it called? I don't know, Lex Luthor from Superman film and having him as the hero of the film, fighting another villain without any form of Superman scene in sight.
It's like taking a Star Wars film, making a spin-off, and saying, you know what? There's not going to be a Jedi in this film. There'll be no lightsabers.
Yeah,
we got we got a lightsaber at the end for an amazing scene. Come on, there's Spider-Man.
Are we going to get one in the Han Solo film?
No, but I think we're going to get a Spider-Man cameo in Venom regardless.
I thought you were about to say we're going to get a Spider-Man cameo in the Han Solo film.
Well,
I think
at the rate it's
like
going, maybe.
I think it'll be like the Edward Norton Hulk film. I'll get it right this time.
Oh, good.
Tony Stark shows up at the end.
Captain America.
Yeah, I could just Venom's something where like I'm rewatching Spider-Man 3. We'll get to that another time, but the Venom film I think will work. The fact Tom Hardy's attached to it is what to me made this. Same with a lot of other people skeptical, but you get Tom Hardy in. He's a guy that he leaves projects if he's not looking forward to him. Can you remember that bad film he was in?
Wait a sec.
I know Chris is jumping for one in 2012, but that's only bad to him, not the others. But he honestly has had a long hit of solid films, and Suicide Squad shows that he'll leave it if it's crap. He left that as soon as he got the script. And I feel that with this, the fact that he's the lead, he's Venom, the buttons have been ticked, and even Kevin Feige, yes, he's saying it for PR reasons, but the fact that even he said, like, it's got Tom Hardy, that's what it was in the description as well when he spoke about the interview last night.
Well, that's new. Apparently he's been rumoured to be cast as one of the stormtroopers in The Last Jedi.
Oh, yeah, people. Just the famous cameo.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's not going to be a bad film, is it? But I think Venom, time will tell, but I've got very high hopes. But I feel that if Venom's successful, then what they'll do, they'll show it to Kevin Feige. And I just imagine him saying, okay, you can have a quick cameo. If it's good. Everything's going to come down to if it's good and if Marvel like it. Because then there's your villain story for the Spider-Man 3. Yeah.
And I do want to see another incarnation of villain, and I really do hope they knock it out of the park. But anyway, moving on to even more Spider-Man news. So John Watts, the director, has signed on to direct Spider-Man Homecoming 2. He's signed a 2-picture deal with Sony, which has been confirmed by Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige, and said that the second film will be due out in 2019. I think that's a fair release date for it. It might be a bit quick, especially if we see a lot of Spider-Man throughout Avengers and everything like that. But it seems like they really just want to get the ball rolling on this new Spider-Man trilogy universe with Spider-Man. So it makes sense.
I imagine Spider-Man being, okay, the old guard have gone after Infinity War, and he will lead not the new Avengers, but he will be the new Iron Man for the next couple of years if the deal works out well.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's. I mean, I guess we knew that was going to happen, but the fact that they both confirmed the fact that they liked him, that's good enough. He's got the sequel. Marvel, they're not afraid to kick directors off projects. They've done it before. They can bring their control. But John Watts, I mean, we haven't seen the film. It's probably great, but you know where you're going to get Marvel. Marvel will release the film they want to make, and they'll get the director to make the film they want. And that's it's not a bad thing, but that it's obvious. But yeah, that's that bit of Spider-Man news. We have one more.
We need to talk about the ungodly abomination of a poster that has been released for this thing.
Special in full caps. Special IMAX poster has been revealed for Spider-Man Homecoming. Do you remember when you're younger? And I'm just going to describe the poster for those that haven't we can't even see it. When you get a £2 sticker book, and it's not like the good sticker books where you buy a pack at 50p. It's not the good sticker books. It's the one you don't want, where it's 300 stickers that you're meant to put on pages to make your own scene. That's what this poster is.
Yeah. It's embarrassing. I thought this was a joke when you sent it me, and you actually sent me the one for Amazing Spider-Man 2 as well, which was equally as bad. This might even be worse. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it look like a textbook or something at high school. Someone's put stickers all over it. But in terms of an actual official poster, this is terrible. And if you look at all the posters that have come out of this thing, not just the IMAX one, but we had that one where we said that Iron Man was the focus, and it was just that horrible Photoshop collage of all the different characters. the posters for this thing have been downright just laughable all the way through.
Okay, here's me pitching a good poster for this film. It's just a picture of his locker and just the contents of it.
You got to have Spider-Man on the poster, dude. You got to have Spider-Man on there.
No, you could have maybe like him looking into the locker and then the Spider-Man mask hung up somewhere in it.
Just do a very simple one of him not swinging in the street, but okay, you want him between buildings and you want the Vulture in the air menacing coming towards him. Just almost like, I know it's a bit like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 poster, but the one where it was behind him like that, with the 3 villains in each third. Just something like that, like, but with Vulture coming towards him. And if they want the Iron Man reference, then have it near the Avengers Tower. Have him swinging off the Avengers Tower with Vulture on the horizon. Why is it so hard for them to make a good poster for a spider that flies in the air? And I was looking back at some of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 posters, and even the first one. There were some great ones. There's one of him when he was standing, like, hiding in the corner of the walls, and the shadow had the spider logo. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 one, that IMAX one was stunning. It was like a proper comic book art one. Even the Empire magazine of this year, the subscriber one, had a drawing of Spider-Man. That was a better poster than this abomination.
Let's move on swiftly. I believe we've already announced that we're doing Spider-Man reviews of all the previous films.
Yes. As an outrageous speech goes, me and Chris, I don't think Tate wants in on them because he's so excited for Homecoming. From Monday, we will be releasing a review of each of the original classic, insane, good Spider-Man films coming out. So on Monday, we have Spider-Man 1, directed by Sam Raimi, not Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man 2, directed by Sam Raimi, not in a Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man 3, directed by Sam Raimi, not in a Cinematic Universe. So there's a key theme in this trilogy, and they're absolutely amazing. We'll be releasing them on Monday, and we have an amazing intro video to tie in with them because, you know, there's an actual good Spider-Man theme in these two. But fingers crossed for Giacchino.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching Spider-Man 2 tomorrow. Can't wait. One of my favorite Superman films. I keep saying Superman, superhero films. But it was really fun doing the review for Spider-Man yesterday, and it's just going to get better when we get to Spider-Man 2 and 3 as well.
The next news is Deadpool news.
Yeah, we're into the X-Men universe now. So yeah.
Deadpool 2 cast officially unveiled. Domino is played by Zazie Beetz. Don't know who that is. Cable by Josh Brolin. Julianne Dennison cast from the Taika Waititi film Hunt for the Wilderpeople, a film which I've been meaning to see because it is meant to be brilliant. But as far as the only thing that jumps out at me there is Josh Brolin as Cable. Who do they want? They wanted someone else as Cable, though, didn't they?
Pierce Brosnan was in talks. Stephen Lang as well, the Colonel from Avatar, who was the fan casting. He said he would love to have done it. I mean, he looks more like the character.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He's probably too busy filming Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 because
even though his character died.
He's still coming back. They've said he's coming back, though.
Sigourney Weaver's coming back. Another guy that died in it is coming back as well.
I bet what happened is he was dying, so he put himself into an avatar, and that's how he survived.
I heard rumors that Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to be in Avatar 2 as well, which would be incredible. I'd love that. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked from the subject.
Arnie would not be about to have Cable, but Josh Brolin, I can see that. He's had a good run of films recently, so we'll give him that. I don't know who the hell Zazie Beetz is.
I think he's a newcomer. That was the key part of it. I don't know what they've done, but with Josh Brolin, you just know there's going to be a shit Thanos reference in there as well.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have a look who this Zazie Beetz is that you speak of.
But
it's a woman. It's a woman. It's not a guy.
German-born actress. Appeared on the anthology series Easy on Netflix. I've been meaning to watch that. I've been meaning to get through a lot of Netflix things.
I think there's actually been like another race thing as well brought up with this because she looks like she's mixed race from the picture. I don't know, but the actual comic book character is very pale. Kind of looks like oh god, what's her name? Matako from Ghost in the Shell. Kind of looks a little bit like that. So there were some people again playing the race card. As long as it's close to the character, I don't have a problem. I think she wears a mask as well at some points in the comic books. I don't really know much about the Deadpool lore, in all honesty. I'm fine with the casting. Brolin's solid, and I'm sure, I think with the Cable and Deadpool relationship, it's almost like a buddy cop movie. It's almost like Lethal Weapon or something like that, so I'm sure they're going to bring that into it. And I know that the whole casting thing with Cable was up in the air for a long time. I think that was one of the reasons that the original director of Deadpool left the project due to creative differences. I think that Ryan Reynolds was pushing for an older actor, and the original original director wanted to go young. I think there's probably more to it than just that. But in terms of casting, I'm fine with it. We know what we're going to get with the Deadpool sequel. It's going to be bigger. It's going to have more action. You know, that's all that can be said, really.
Now for the other X-Men property, the one that everyone in the world's looking forward to more than Infinity War, Dark Phoenix, because Apocalypse was so good. They've confirmed that Dazzler, the mutant Dazzler, is going to be in it. For those that don't know who Dazzler is, she's a mutant that sings. She's basically a pop star.
She's like Gemma the Hologram. She has disco powers.
Yeah. She basically she probably just convinces people she's a good singer. Something to do with the sound waves. Not that would have been amazing having a Transformer as her instead. But they've just confirmed Dazzler's going to be in it, and the big drama is that it's not Taylor Swift. And I kind of thought, why are people saying Taylor Swift anyway? And it appears that Taylor Swift had like an uncredited cameo where she posed for a fake album cover for Apocalypse as Dazzler. I've seen the film once. I won't be watching it again. So whether that was just a deleted scene or something like that, I don't think anyone could give a shit.
I didn't see that cameo. I only watched the film once. Apocalypse is probably one of the, well, it's without a doubt one of the worst X-Men films. It's probably worse than X-Men 3: The Last Stand, in all honesty.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, it is.
It's
worse than Wolverine 1.
And I think as well, what hurts the most about X-Men Apocalypse is that it ruined 2 great films before, and what was setting up to be a fantastic trilogy, it just completely dropped the ball.
Chris.
Yeah?
Chris. For people watching Cinema Savvy right now, please go back to the review of X-Men Apocalypse, as we both agreed that it was not the best film, but it wasn't that bad.
No, I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I acknowledge that there was one good scene in there.
Was I in on that review? No.
I can't remember, but I remember Chris saying it wasn't.
I don't actually know why I wasn't, but I didn't review it. I watched it once, and I would never. I think I saw it, that was why, but it was one of the worst cinematic experiences of my life, especially in IMAX, all that way for that. And time tells, and time makes films worse. And you know what? Seeing films like Apocalypse, we'll get to this in our Spider-Man 3 review, actually. Me and you spoke about this yesterday. Seeing a film as bad as Apocalypse, that had come out in 2006, Last Stand, because there's not like 5 comic films a year. People don't forget about Last Stand because there wasn't a film 2 months afterwards. You just had Last Stand until Spider-Man 3 came out the next year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always look forward to another X-Men movie. Even through the bad and the good, I stick with X-Men. I do like going to see an X-Men film. But at this point, you know, they don't give a shit about continuity with their films. In one of the early X-Men films, I think it was like X-Men 2, you see Bolivar Trask on a TV screen, looks nothing completely different. He's not a dwarf or anything like that, like Peter Dinklage. They just make them up as they go along. I see each individual film. They're very loosely tied together, but they're pretty much their own entity for each film.
The only thing that's the same as the main characters.
Yeah, and with these X-Men films, they always try and put new mutants in every single film they do, even if it doesn't merit it. It's also going to be set in the 90s, this one. We're still getting Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, and, oh God, what's his name? McAvoy back. So it doesn't make any sense in terms of the aging.
Forwards a decade every now and then.
Yeah, so maybe this will be the last one, because the original X-Men film came out in 2000, so they'll have eventually caught up, and hopefully the pain can stop and they can reboot it, whatever they're going to do, reboot it. I don't know. The point is, I'm fine with Dazzler being in there. She's not going to have much of a character. She'll be like pretty much like Jubilee, I guess, in X-Men Apocalypse, if anyone could even remember her in that film.
She didn't actually use any of her powers in X-Men Apocalypse, did she?
She did in a deleted scene, and the deleted scene was horrible. She makes an arcade machine go from out of order to work. That's it. It's terrible. Shall we move on then? We're actually back to DC on this one.
Even worse comic book films to talk about now. Jesus. This has been a pretty miserable day for me. I don't think there's a single film I spoke about that I like the look of. But we'll hopefully change that soon, but not in this one. Jared Leto has been talking about potentially being in Gotham City Sirens. For those that don't know who Jared Leto is, apparently he's the Joker, literally, not just as an actor. He is the Joker. He's so edgy, and he honkers a lot. Someone asked him, are you going to be in Gotham City Sirens? He goes, I have no idea. I can't confirm. Or maybe I do know, but I can't confirm or deny. We'll see what happens next. What a Joker.
Honker.
I could use some very colourful language to describe Jared Leto right now, but I'm going to keep
I could draw a tattoo on my hand if you want, like that.
I don't know if he's contractually obligated at this point. He came out after Suicide Squad saying that he pretty much hated it, how they treated his character, that he put all these years of method acting into his performance to be the greatest Joker there's ever been on screen. And he appears for 15 minutes, and that was almost 15 minutes too much. If he's going to be, it would make sense for him to be in the film, but...
As far as Jared Leto is concerned, he won the Oscar, and now he thinks he is the shit.
Yeah.
And
like,
yeah.
It's a lot easier to win an Oscar as a man pretending to be a woman than it is to be like a serious role. It's if anyone ever seen the TV show Extras, one of the funniest sitcoms I've ever seen in my life. There's even a whole joke on episode. I've forgotten her name. She was basically Extras. They're acting out. I know it's off topic, but she says if you want to win an Oscar, do a Holocaust film, guaranteed Oscar. It's basically it's a joke. It's Oscar bait, and yeah, he won his Oscar, but you can't you can meth that for the Joker, but you don't need to be. You don't need to give people rats on set. You don't need to be doing shit like that. Just piss off.
I guess we'll move on then. So we're on to Star Wars news now. The Han Solo spin-off film. The news on this just gets more and more interesting every single week. So last week we had the news that the directors were fired, and that was pretty much it. We knew some things, but nothing was clear. A little bit more light has been shed on that now, but whether we know the whole story, I don't know. So the big rumor going around is that during production, oh god, what's his name? Aaron Reek. I can't remember his first name.
I don't know.
That's the one playing the new Han Solo. Essentially, they hired an acting coach for his performance as Han Solo. Now that immediately, as soon as I read that red flags went up. This has been a very troubled production, not just with the directors dropping out, but the entire production. They've got the dailies in. They say that they need editors in. They need different directors, everything like that. It seems like it's just completely crumbled under its own weight. And the fact that the main character, Han Solo, you're having to get an acting coach in, that sounds really bad to me. But then again, I was reading some comments. I don't know if this is true. Apparently, Heath Ledger had an acting coach playing the Joker. Maybe it was like a consult thing. Maybe it was just to shed different light on it, different perceptions he could bring to the character. And I mean, look how that turned out. There's more to the news than this, but I'm going to pass it over to you guys. What do you think of the actual news of him having an acting coach on set?
I think it's a weird one because we're not there. We're reading rumors. The way I see it, The Force Awakens, the big focus was that John Boyega and Daisy Ridley had bad chemistry at the beginning of filming. And then they've reshot at the end when they were really close and it's proper chemistry. I feel it might be with this, that when he was new, I mean, if anyone's, I mean, Tate, you've seen the Coen Brothers film as an actor. I always forget his name. He definitely didn't need an acting coach for that film. Although his character did that's a funny joke. If it was so simple, yeah. I feel that the way I personally see this, all ways aside, this kid is basically playing Harrison Ford. Like, the pressure on him as a young actor to be Han Solo is insane. If they've got him an acting coach, then that could mean many other things. But what's more interesting is that they believe he's one of the reasons, he's one of the people that got the director sacked, where he just wasn't working with them at all. And if that's true, maybe the acting coach might have been them, maybe in Nasty, we don't know. But I mean, I can't wait for the documentary about this film.
Oh yes,
well, they're gonna sweep all this under the rug, though, aren't they? They're gonna mess this as well as they can.
Are we expecting a Hearts of Darkness too? I see this linking very closely to the news we had last week of the whole the two directors wanting it to be a bit more kind of loose and do a bit more kind of ad-lib, make up some lines on the spot. Because Han Solo he's a free-souled character. He's a free-flowing character. He isn't the kind of person who's expected to say exactly what he's told to say. Like, he is a character who's expected to give off the great one line, if that is the case, because it is Harrison Ford as a character. And Harrison Ford has done brilliant improv lines over the years. If they're saying, look, dude, can you just improv a line here? What would Harrison do? And he's panicking and thinking, I don't know. And they're saying, okay, we'll bring in an acting coach for this, just so that he can help you become maybe like a little bit more loose, maybe a little bit more free-minded, so you can actually kind of come up with some lines, because we need you to be inspirational here within the character to become the character instead of act like you are playing a character. We need you to become Harrison Ford, basically. And maybe that was the reason why they got an acting coach in. I don't know how closely Harrison Ford has been linked to this film, whether he's been consulted quite heavily on it or not. I would kind of expected him to maybe be quite closely tied to the film. I know that Donald Glover met up with Billy D. Williams. So, yeah, who knows?
My take on that, for example, though, is, I mean, if we look at Back to the Future, for example, when Robert Zemeckis was making that movie, the original actor they got, I was just checking the name of him, for Marty McFly was Eric Stoltz, and I think they did about 4 weeks of shooting. It wasn't working. Zemeckis wasn't getting the performance he wanted for that character and vision from that character. So you know what they did? They got rid of Eric Stoltz, and they brought in Michael J. Fox, and look at that film.
They wanted Michael J. Fox originally, though, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. So my take on this is, if they were starting filming and because clearly they didn't change their tact, Phil Lord and Chris Miller had that improvisational style from the get-go. They would have pitched that. They just said, this is how we work as filmmakers. This is what we want. If they get an actor in who's not delivering that or the kind of performance they want, get rid of him and get someone who can do it, because it seems like they're just trying to.
It's one of those.
I know he's got credits underneath his belt. I know that he did Hail Caesar, for example, which is a movie that you two liked, and apparently he's great in that movie. I haven't seen that yet, but you know, he might be great in that. Doesn't mean he's going to be great as Han Solo. So I think they should have got rid of him, perhaps. You know, I don't know.
Going completely off film here, the best way I can compare this is a manager being fired from a football team for bad performance from the players. If that is the case.
And it's not even, it's the managers falling out with the board members, the manager, you know, tactics. I mean, reading these reports, I mean, some of them might be like bullshit and stuff like that, but some of them clearly aren't. There's too much going around for them must be fake. There's too much going around for them must be true. But the one that stuck out was they would film all of the script stuff and then they would do the improv after. But they would focus on the improv, and this is where the issues were coming in, that they would apparently have 3 cameras out and the footage, they had like a fifth of the footage a day they were meant to have. They were going to go so far behind schedule. And, you know, this whole thing is just absolutely insane. One of the directors tweeted a Han Solo quote from episode 4 A New Hope. I don't know how enough I've forgotten the quote. I'm killing myself, but I think it was situation normal.
That's
obviously, it wasn't situation normal. God, the more that comes out, it's going to be insane. But I mean, Ron Howard tweeted today his first day on set. They're not filming, but he's obviously on set meeting people. This, like the other, just a picture of his shoes saying, "This is all I can show you." I think it's in safe hands. I feel that if the actor isn't working with the directors, at the end of the day, it's the actor that the directors picked, but also an actor that was okayed by the producers.
Yeah,
and at this stage, I think it's going to be patched up. I don't know if it's going to be fixed at this stage. I think that's the best way you could look at it. But the last thing I'll say on it really quickly, I mentioned this last week, is that I do want to see Disney take more chances. And it seems every time Kathleen Kennedy has these ideas that we're going to bring in these new, fresh directors to bring an interesting new take on the Star Wars franchise away from the episode numbered films, and we're going to do some creative new things. It always seems then the machine, Disney company, whatever it is, it's like, no, Star Wars is a set formula. We have to make it exactly like this every time, which then just saps out all the creativity and the different tone that these films may have had. And this is Star Wars, a Star Wars story. This is a chance to do something new. So I can see both sides to it. I'd have loved to have seen Phil Lord and Chris Miller's film, even if it was some kind of screwball Star Wars comedy. It's something different. It might have been interesting. It would have been a different take. But now it seems they want to keep going to the safe and the known, structured, safe, just like Marvel does as well.
I'm with Disney on this one in the sense that, not Disney, more Kathleen Kennedy, that when DC do a film, we'll fix it next time. There is no next time with Star Wars. They know what's going to happen if there's another bad one. No, Chris.
They did it with the prequels, though, didn't they? Like every time, like with Jar Jar, okay, we look at criticism.
Yeah, but
Jar Jar,
and this is the thing: you can't do that in this day and age. You know, there is no next time for these spin-off films. Each one, you're not going to get a next time if they don't come out right. That's why the Rogue One stuff that came in, the Phil Lord and Chris Miller one. I mean, this is on their fault for hiring them, but whether or not them, for all we know, they might have been the worst directors in the world on set. Like, there's some rumors that they didn't know how to use the large crew. They weren't used to that. They used their smaller comedy stuff. I don't know, but with the Disney machine, you've got your Rian Johnson, who's done a perfect job, who they're basically saying is like their prodigal son. That's the way he's been marketed in episode 8. Mm-hmm. Whereas with this, like Gareth Edwards, or what happened, but he's in very good terms with Disney, and I feel that the Josh Trank, just very quickly, Josh Trank got sacked, but look at Fant Forstick turning up on set, got into fights with his actors, trashed all the rooms, getting rid of Josh Trank was the best thing to do, because if he bottled it, a Fox film, a Fantastic Four, how is he going to do a Star Wars film?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to side with the directors on this one. The way I see Han Solo as a character, just from that first film, is he is a comical, cool hand Luke in space. It's the simplest way of putting it.
I don't think he's comical.
He's more selfish and quick rather than comical.
Yeah, I know. He's not a farcical character. That is where the comedy comes from in the film.
No, I'd say C-3PO and R2-D2. They're the comic relief.
I would say that he was also a comical character in the film. He is the complete, almost opposite to Luke. He is a non-Force believer, so he denies a lot of things, and that causes a lot of comical tension in there. He has like fun quips, one-liners, and stuff like that. I would say that he was kind of the, like I said, cool hand Luke in space, but a little bit more comical. And they've asked for directors who have directed 21 and 22 Jump Street and Lego Movie, which are comedies at their base.
They've done Star Wars before in Lego Movie, that one little quick Star Wars scene with Han and Lando in that.
And they're known for their improv comedy in parts of those films. So really, they should have known what they were getting themselves into when they hired them.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they had a joint agenda where they agreed on going into the film. So what I'm thinking is it must have been absolutely either completely catastrophic, completely their fault, or small little things starting to creep in and them maybe saying, look, we don't deserve this kind of treatment of the way that this is our film, basically. I know that it's Disney property, but you've asked us to make a film. This is the way we make films. You should have known that beforehand. So why are you kind of taking that kind of side of things away from them? So I am inclined to side with the directors on this one. But who knows? We may get more information.
Yeah, I think it's something that 4 months into production, something wouldn't have happened from the start. I would have edged into it, but it's a mental drama. But for the next year, it's going to be remembered. Every time a director gets hired now for Star Wars films, they're going to be talking about this. And obviously, you know, in the words of Goldberg, you're next, Colin Trevorrow, watch out. Book of Henry, not do very good at all.
Very terrible reviews. Like people saying it's the most misguided film possibly of all time. Of the year even. I don't know much about the film, but from seeing reviews of it, it's meant to be a drama about a kid who's extremely talented involving school life, science projects, murder, and cancer.
And it's based off a book, and if he got a book adaptation wrong, how is he going to continue with a Star Wars episodic number film?
If he can't do a franchise reboot / builder working from previous material right, and if he can't do a book adaptation right, how on earth do you expect him to take on a mega franchise which has a well-established fan base and a well-established storyline already?
Just delay Dune and bring back Rian Johnson.
Should we move on to
okay. This could be its own thing. We're for a day of small news we've been going. We got some dead news. Not dead, but we're on the small bits of news now, guys. This is good. Paramount officially confirmed David Fincher is directing World War Z 2.
I thought that was already confirmed, but
same. Apparently, it wasn't confirmed. It was just rumored, which is stupid because it's the same thing basically. Brad Pitt starring in it. Fight Club reunion, excellent. Due in 2019.
Very different tone to the first one. I guess I didn't see the first one. I heard it was really different from the book, so I didn't.
The first one was clearly going to be a train wreck, and they kept delaying it, and they kept redoing the endings. However, it actually ended up being good.
All I can think about when I think about that first film is the South Park parody of the ending, with Cartman singing "It's a Beautiful Day" and the whole Zimmerman kind of thing.
So then moving on, we have some Blade Runner news as well. I mean, I've just read this. I mean, this seems really weird. So Ridley Scott has talked about the future of the Blade Runner films. And this is a quote. He says, "You know what? George," meaning George Lucas, "has always proved that. Of course, there's always something, George Lucas, you know. And the way that he's handled Star Wars has been spectacular. It's what I've been trying to do to really evolve Alien, because in those days, I wasn't into making sequels. But now suddenly you realize, well, that's stupid. I'll use the word duh again, right? You'd better get into sequels, duh. That's in the way what I've been doing.
Was he on cocaine when he said that statement?
He must have. I was reading that and I was like, either I'm having some kind of stroke or this is how it's actually written. I kind of have no idea what he's on about here. I'm guessing he's talking about sequels and he was always against them, but now having seen what George Lucas did with the prequels and fleshing out the world, that's what he's trying to do with Alien. No, Ridley, what you're doing is ungodly, it's awful, and you're ruining the saga that you helped build. Alien was kind of already dead anyway after 4, and certainly after Alien versus Predator. I didn't like Prometheus, and Alien Covenant was just a mess of a film. He needs to stop, he needs to rethink his life. Just like the Death Sticks guy from Attack of the Clones. That's all I have to say.
Stop.
He loves sequels, but not when it's a good director pitching a better sequel for Alien 5. No, I'm going to go prequels now. That's precisely how his life went.
The only thing good about the recent film was the gods entering into Valhalla.
Yeah. Oh, Fassbender was great in it.
Fassbender, and that's it.
I guess we can move on.
Yeah.
Conjuring 3 confirmed. I thought that was already confirmed.
Yeah, I thought that was already confirmed as well.
But there's a Conjuring cinematic universe. Maybe we're going to get the Ridley Scott cinematic universe.
Oh god.
And like what it will tie into like Tony Scott as well. Like Top Gun 2 is actually going to be Tom Cruise flying into space and meeting Alien, and Tom Cruise's dreams come true.
I would
Scientology. I'll watch that.
Take on a xenomorph with Kenny Loggins doing the soundtrack.
I'm sure Ridley Scott would turn that simple premise into 6 films. Don't really worry about that.
Of course he would.
Another thing which I actually laughed at this one. Did anyone see that Ben Affleck film last year called The Accountant? Neither did I.
The terrible views. Reviews that got. I'm just looking now because I can't believe it's been announced it's getting a sequel. It had a 44 million budget and 155 mil made back, but Jesus Christ, I heard it got shocking reviews overall.
I thought the trailer looked fairly decent, but then reviews came out and I kind of stayed away from it. So
I said it was very boring. And for an action film about an assassin who may have high functioning autism and is extremely OCD, like there's some premise there. But if it's really boring, is it just him organizing things for an hour and a half?
It's a shame because this came out right after his film Live by Night, didn't it? I know he didn't direct The Accountant, but it was like he had to. Live by Night I thought was fantastic, but a lot of people didn't take to that movie like they had to his other films. And then he did The Accountant and it wasn't very well received. And then the news came out that he wasn't directing Batman. So it was kind of like a constant hit on his career at that point.
I mean,
he's
to be honest,
great talent.
I've never seen the film, but if you look at the cast, it's got Anna Kendrick, J.K. Simmons, and Jake Brethenol or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
George's face.
Sorry. Basically, a bit of context. I'm running the Skype call tonight. It's not Skype call, the Google Hangout, and my mouse has just run out of charge. So I'm going to put my mouse in the charger, and let's hope by the time we finish the news today, I can press the stop broadcast.
We will never end. We will never end. It'll be like another Oscars live stream, 4 hours in this bitch.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the next section, which is trailer talk. And oh my god, I'm actually just going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
14.
10, 11, 14 plus 1, which I've talked about in the chat to you guys.
Let's rattle through this speed fire.
Let's do my one first before Sean's out his mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, so very topical in the news at the moment. If you're a fan of the tennis world, with the trailer release of The Battle of the Sexes, the film about the match between, I can't remember his name, but it was between him and Billie Jean King. A good cast in the film, and the film itself looks very good. You got Steve Carell playing the main dude, and then you got, oh my god, Emma Stone playing Billie Jean King, and she really does look like Billie Jean King, the tennis player. This is very news topical because we have the recent statement from John McEnroe saying Serena Williams wouldn't make it into the top 700 in the men's circuit. Her responding saying, like, don't bother me and anything like that. And then the 701st in the world turning around and saying, I want to think that I could beat her. Bit of history between the Battle of the Sexes. There's been 4 in total, 3 official, 1 kind of not official. So far, there has been, I'm not going to spoil the film, but it's a 3-to-1 ratio. 3 of them have been victors of the male gender. 1 of them has been female gender. And yeah, I feel like the news coming out from John McEnroe, the topical kind of talk, just kind of makes this film maybe into the spotlight a bit more, with a possible other battle of the sexes taking place once Serena has given birth to her child, to prove John McEnroe wrong. So that film may actually build up a bit more hype if there's an actual other battle of the sexes in the sporting world to go with it.
Controversially, for people that don't watch tennis at home, I used to love it. The issue with a lot of people have with tennis is that men play best out of 5 sets, women play best out of 3. There's always been the debates left, right, and centre about that. It's not my place to voice my opinion about getting hunted down by a pack of wolves. And I believe that the good thing is it's equal pay. I think, however, people do bring in the argument that how is it equal pay if they're playing 2 more sets than you? That's not my opinion. That's Twitter. But I'm very intrigued by that, especially with the recent comments, because I did think it was rather funny.
I know I'm going to get tennis political here, but the funniest thing about the recent comments is the fact that the Williams sisters have actually had a battle of the sexes before, and I'm going to spoil it for you. They lost. They challenged someone saying, "Oh yeah, we're so good. We reckon we could beat anyone outside the top 200 in the men's circuit." So one dude, can't remember his name, but he showed up, still pissed from the night before, and beat them 6-1, 6-love, which is hilarious. So be interesting to see that replicated again if there is another battle of sexes. But back to film talk, the trailer itself was really good. I'm not sure when it gets released, but possibly Oscar nominations. It's worth a watch, the trailer. It had me excited as a tennis fan and a film fan.
Tate, I'm going to have to take your word for this. I've been kind of silent as the grave during that. I know nothing about sports, especially tennis. I'm going to talk about a trailer that I do know about, and I'm looking forward to. War for the Planet of the Apes, one of the most anticipated films from the year. Yesterday I did my trailer reaction to the official final trailer, although the trailer before that was apparently the final trailer. I guess it wasn't. The film looks incredible. What more can I say? I do think that this new trailer did give a little bit too much away, though, in terms of Caesar's motivation. It looks like they're going to kill his wife in there. Woody Harrelson's character is either going to wipe out most of his tribe, or especially his wife. He talks about that he loses a lot of family. And it also gives context to the scene where he jumps through the waterfall and is climbing up the rope. We see him cut the rope and Caesar fall. So it kind of ruins a little bit of what I expect is going to be in the first act. But based on reviews, what I've seen, it looks like it's not going to be an all-out battle like the trailers make it look out to be. It's going to be a character-focused piece, which is what I want from these movies. And even some reviews are saying it's the best one of the trilogy. So
they
fantastic.
should have released this film on the day of the Ides of March. That angers me that they did not do that, and they missed the opportunity there. Yeah, I mean, people are going to hate me for this. It's on my list of things to watch. I'm probably going to watch it at some point tomorrow, but I still haven't seen Dawn. I loved Rise.
That's my film club to you, Tate. My film club to you. Watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
We're going to watch it tomorrow before our film club tomorrow, which, by the way, guys, is Mean Girls. Really looking forward to that
Mean
one.
Apes double.
Mean Apes.
That would be a film.
But I haven't seen the second film, but this film really does excite me. Will Serkis finally get an Oscar nomination for mocap performance?
He should, but he won't. George, what do you think of this trailer?
Oh, every trailer this looks stunning. I was a bit pissed off I watched it, in all honesty, because it did give, although it's minor things, it did piss me off that I saw that rope scene, because I was intrigued to see where that fits in. I know 1 or 2 things that'll happen. Should have avoided it, but it's Planet of the Apes. It's a fucking outstanding first 2 films. This could cap off and be the best trilogy since Dark Knight trilogy. For me, I know you won't agree with that, Chris, but they've been refreshing to watch each one. And yes, there's been 2, but I hope they finish at 3. There's talk of them doing a 4th, and I really hope they don't. So whether they're opening or closing some stories,
I believe the original Planet of the Apes was like 5 films.
Yeah, but it's with this, it's building up to that. I mean, you know, what I think one of the quotes in the trailers is, "If we lose, it will become a Planet of the Apes."
Even in the first movie as well, you see the Icarus rocket. It was an Easter egg, and the Statue of Liberty all linking into the original Planet of the Apes.
I'm excited for this. This is honestly, I mean, what's even more insane is we're getting 2 Michael Giacchino scores in the space of 6 days over here in England, and then we're not only getting another ape, we're getting a Planet of the Apes film within 10 days of Dunkirk. July could potentially be one of the best months for a long time.
For war films, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with Spider-Man Homecoming coming out.
Michael Giacchino is precisely what I said.
Next trailer is one that actually came out today. We had Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, or Jumanji 2. I will have a reaction video out literally as soon as this live stream's over, so I'm going to give my thoughts in that. I'm very torn on it. I don't think the film looks very good. I think it's kind of blasphemy to the first one, but what I do like is the interplay and the dynamic between the 4 actors in the film. That's pretty much all I'm going to say right now. I'll pass it to you guys.
I'm buzzing for this. It's starring my man Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Why wouldn't I be excited? For anyone that saw his film for Kevin Hart last year, those 2 guys have absolutely insane chemistry. Kevin Hart's in it, who I think is a very, very funny comedian. His stand-up stuff is outstanding, and he's slowly transitioning into films. Those 2. The return of Jack Black, who everyone loved when they're younger, who's actually a man playing a teenage girl playing him. That's why I love the concept of this. Is basically 4 teenagers get sucked into a video game and become the characters. I love stuff like this because it's grown actors pretending to be teenagers, pretending to be them. Yeah. And I think that's a really cool dynamic. But the whole woman dynamic with Jack Black, because his comedy is very one note normally. It's always the same Jack Black comedy. I actually haven't seen him like this. I mean, no one's seen him trying to be a girl, but this could really mount a bit of a comeback for him, especially with The Rock. It's got Gamora in it, the person from Doctor Who, Ginger.
Karen Gillan.
Karen Gillan, that's the one. Sorry. I'm intrigued by it. I loved Jumanji as a kid. I wasn't necessarily attached to it, but it's one of the films I had on video, and I did enjoy it when it was on telly, stuff like that. And I'm just excited with this that it's not a board game remake. They're doing something new with the video game and being in the jungle.
I am sorry to break the hearts of Chris and all fans of the original Jumanji movie, but I've heard people online saying, "Oh, it's horrible. How come they're remaking this classic film?" This Jumanji, the original film, was not a classic film. Personally, I think that Robin Williams, who is a great actor, this is a subpar film for him. And just everything about the film, it's very tacky, it's very cheesy, the original. When you go back and watch it, it even doesn't fit in its own kind of time. You see films of that time which are way better, maybe with different concepts, but still. I think the original Jumanji really wasn't that good, and I feel like a big name carried that film forward. Saying that, this new film, with a big name carrying it forward, it piques my interest, purely because it's reinvented itself with a modern and yet old technology. So they got the ZX Spectrum, as I believe it's the gaming console, or is it the original NES, home NES system?
I don't know, but what I do know is that you have been converted to a rock fan. You liked Baywatch.
I did like Baywatch. I did like Moana.
And you're probably going to like Jumanji, and you haven't even seen
Jumanji.
And you haven't seen Fast 6, 7, or 8.
I was going to say, you need to get him on Fast.
I didn't like Fast 5, so there's a start.
It's happening.
But anyway,
he's converting.
Yeah, this film piques my interest. Sure, it looks like a high budget, kind of squeeze the money into the film and see what comes out kind of deal. But yeah, it looks like it could be quite an entertaining film. Loving the concept, or the reinvention of the concept, shall we say. Just need to maybe see a little bit more of the film before I can start to make any true judgments on it. But as far as the original is concerned, people don't call it a classic. Go back and watch it, and the only thing that will carry it forward for you is your childhood memories. You remove those completely, and it's a boring, tacky film.
Well, in December, we'll have another retro review of the original Jumanji film. I will be on that review, and I'm sure I will disagree with you on every point, Tate, if we're on that one together. The next trailer we need to talk about is called The Foreigner, starring Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan. George, I think you had the best summation of it when you said it's basically, what you say, Jackie Wick. We're getting so many, with Atomic Blonde coming out this year, which is a Charlize Theron, another John Wick clone. It looks like everyone's trying to capitalize on what those films did.
It all started with The Braid.
It did, yeah. Well, John Wick's kind of its own thing, but I can see where the action does fall very much similar to The Raid. I think this looks fine. It's a very just by the numbers movie. You've got Jackie Chan, whose daughter is killed in the bomb explosion. He's trying to get justice for it. He's trying to find the person behind it. He goes to some kind of embassy, by the looks of things, run by Pierce Brosnan. He's trying to get answers, and it looks like Brosnan might be behind the bombings. And Jackie Chan, in fine form as always, doing his own stunts again, is going to kick ass until he gets justice for the death of his daughter. It's such a by-the-numbers concept, but it looks fine. And it's Jackie Chan in the movie again. I still really want a Rush Hour 4 with him and Chris Tucker. I'm still holding out hope for that. Hopefully this brings him into the limelight once again, show that he can still do the action, and we eventually get a Rush Hour 4.
I see an immediate problem with this film being that it's going to be a heavy political commentary, and not even a subtle one. It's going to be so in your face. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's called The Foreigner.
It's not only that, but it's probably going to hold up a lot of conspiracy theorists, keep them fed over certain events that are in the film, and they'll say, "Oh, that's just like the event that happened in real life," but oh, it's a conspiracy in the government. And I love to see Jackie Chan provide a different role to what we've seen before, because he really is a comedy action star. We don't really see him in many serious roles, and this looks like a serious role for him, with him bringing back the stunt work. But I feel like it's maybe the wrong film concept for him to come back on.
Yeah, I didn't like this trailer at all. The best thing about this trailer was when he gets blown by diamonds. I was like, hey, it's that guy from Die Another Day. And then Pierce Brosnan was in it as well. So it almost is a Die Another Day, just like 15 years, 16 years later.
Why was Jackie Chan never a Bond villain?
Because he would have been a terrible Bond villain. He can't... No, I can't get into a list of Bond villains. That's a talk for another day. But Jackie Chan would have been an awful James Bond villain. He was too big a name to be a henchman. Bring in John Wick to stop James Bond, and then we have a real fight in our hands there. But no, Jackie Wick had a lot more hype. I saw the trailer quite late. A lot of people saw it on the day it came out, but I was not bowled over by it at all.
Next trailer we need to talk about is The Greatest Showman. The trailer came out yesterday. Again, I've got another reaction for this. That will probably be up tomorrow than now at this stage. Starring Hugh Jackman. It's his next film following Logan, and it seems like a film where he's gone back to his roots with his musical and stage past. I really knew nothing about this film going in. So apparently it's a biographical story of real-life showman P.T. Barnum, who founded the circus, which led to the famous Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. I'm clearly not reading that off Wikipedia right now. As a film itself, it didn't blow me away. I know that the songwriters behind the film did La La Land, and there's one song that's used in this trailer which really kind of didn't do anything for me. I'll wait till another trailer comes out. I think it's going to be fine. It's not going to pick up any awards or things like that. Even the cinematography, it's very much done in that circus kind of lighting where it's done with a spotlight. The surrounding is dark with the spotlight in the middle, focused on the main ones. But I think that's going to get old very quickly. This is a film that needs to be bright. It needs to be colourful. And in terms of just like the colour palette and the cinematography, it looks fairly dull. I'll be interested to see it for Hugh Jackman because he's a great talent. But besides that, it really didn't do anything for me as a trailer.
It depresses me that this is his film follow-up to Logan. And I loved La La Land. Jesus. I know you guys probably won't allow it, but it still is my #1 film of the year so far that I've seen, even though it was released last year. That terrible, terrible loophole that I'm going to try and have to get around when it comes to us doing our best of the year. But this doesn't look good. This looks like it's come straight from the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Not only that, but very cheesy. Incredibly cheesy. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure that the circus, throughout the entire trailer, you see him speaking to different circus acts and saying, "We want you to be part of the show. You're going to be a main part of the show. We're not going to stick you in a cage and parade you around and have you as the bearded lady."
Can you imagine if it turned out like the Elephant Man?
We're not gonna section you off and have you as circus freaks advertised. No, we're going to have you all singing about identity, and this is me, and it's all about your identity. Even though I'm pretty sure in those days it was nothing to do with identity. It was about ticket sales and trying to get as many people in as possible by having entertaining, odd-looking people. Not only that, but just I am 100% sure this is going to become the kind of like the song that people are going to use, like I believe the last song of this type was Born This Way, which for the transgender and LGBT community is perfectly fine. But it feels like this song is pushing it. Like it's trying to push an agenda in that way. And I'm perfectly fine with those kind of things in the film, but like it feels like this film is just pushing to get those issues in, and I don't think it'll take them seriously at all. And that concerns me, because that just causes more problems and more drama.
George, what do you think of this trailer, or did you?
I didn't see
this one. Okay, I don't know if you're watching this one. We'll move on to the next one. That's fine.
So the next film trailer is what did I call it? The Theory of Respiration.
Yeah.
This is a mixture between The Imitation Game, The Theory of Everything, and a person breathing, and that's the best way of putting this trailer.
Yeah, pretty much for me. I mean, we looked at the poster after this on Wikipedia. It's exactly the same font, exactly the same style as Social Network. What was it? Imitation Game, you said as well. Yeah. As a film itself, though, it looks like one of those Oscar baity films.
But
you've got
a good one.
I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in, because I found out that Andy Serkis, this is his directional debut. I still thought Jungle Book was going to be that, and technically that was the first film he did, but they've delayed that apparently due to the extensive visuals that are going to be required for that film. I think that's mostly down to Disney bringing out Jungle Book before that one came out. So I'm interested to see Andy Serkis's take. He's a fantastic talent, whether he's an actor or directing. He was second unit director on the Hobbit films, for example. Andrew Garfield, he's been picking his projects very, very well recently. With the likes of Silence and Hacksaw Ridge, this looks like another powerhouse performance from him. So I'm looking forward to it. And that it does look fairly predictable of where you're going to go, even if you don't know the real life story. But it looks like an uplifting story. Nonetheless, it's going to be a hard sit, though. I think it looks like it's going to hit all the emotional beats that's required. But I definitely think we'll be seeing this one come next year's Academy Awards for sure.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer, but it is headlining the BFI Festival for this year, so it's obviously the big push for next year.
There's a lot of buzz around it, which is more than can be said for the next film that I saw a trailer for. This is going to be like a sentence for me. Accelerator. I literally don't know what this film's about based on the trailer. It looks awful. It looks like a director bargain bin video you'll find in the pound shop. It's kind of like a sci-fi action thing, but I've seen better acting in porn. And then the final shot is some kind of sci-fi device that looks like something mixed between a sonic screwdriver and some kind of pleasure bullet.
Yeah, that's the dildo.
Pretty much, that's all I have to say on Accelerator. There is nothing to say on this trailer. It's abysmal.
Moving on to Death Note. I'm gonna anger some anime fans here. I have not. I tried watching Death Note. I couldn't get into it as far as the series is concerned. However, the film does interest me. I believe it has. Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Oh my god, person who plays Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe as the main death person. Please don't hate on me for not getting the names of the characters correct. And yeah, creepy character. The film intrigues me. That's all I'm going to say.
George, do you have some? It sounded like you're. It's always this way with trailer talk. I feel really bad because you kind of just sit there because you didn't see. I need to talk about one of the worst trailers I've seen all year, though, and I really wish I'd kind of done a reaction video on this now. My Little Pony, the movie, official trailer 2. Now, I was going to do a reaction to the first trailer that came out for this thing, but I just think my shame and my pride wouldn't let me do one. But you're going to get my thoughts on this one now. Tate, you tuned out a minute into it when you first tried to watch it.
Cut out a minute into it.
I made it through it. Now, I'm not... What was it? What's the term that's used for people that like brony? I'm not a brony at all. I know that Twilight Sparkle is a thing, and they come from Equestria. That is literally my knowledge on My Little Pony. That's where it begins and ends. This looks like trash. The animation looks terrible. I know it's kind of the new TV series because they've rebooted it recently. I think it looks There's nothing more to say. It looks worse than the Emoji Movie. It really does. People go and see this. People who are fans of My Little Pony. If there's any like older middle-aged gentlemen go to see this movie, then just get out of that cinema screen. Go and see a later showing of it. If you're going to go and see it, it looks bad. That's all I have to say on it. It looks abysmal. Animation, acting, script, everything. It's trash.
That film's going to make a lot of money.
My reaction was just sort of puzzling what I was watching. Why am I watching this? Why am I having to talk about this? I'll move on to the next one. So,
okay, whoa. What's this, George? I'll need to talk about My Little Pony 2. What's this?
What? I didn't.
Oh no, that was me. That was me.
Sorry.
Just saying that I didn't.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's move on to possibly one of my favorite trailers of this week with, let me get the name of the film, From the Land of the Moon, starring Marion Cotillard. This might be my Oscar pick. If we're going for really early Oscar pick films, this is the one. This is my foreign film as well. It's a French language film, and it not only looks stunning, but it looks phenomenal. I'm completely immersed into the world already. I am interested in the character's story, and I want to see it now.
Yeah, I got nothing from this trailer. It just looks like she was mentioning sweet nothings. I did read a bit of the plot on Wikipedia. Marion Cotillard is a great talent. I will go and see it, whether it will be at my local, though, because it is a foreign film and my local cinema doesn't like playing.
It won't show.
Yeah, it won't show. I'll have to try and seek out.
My cinema didn't even show The Raid 2, and that was such a huge foreign film.
Next trailer we need to talk about is one called Good Time, which I didn't actually see this one, so who's taking Good Time?
I'm taking Good Time. This is Robert Pattinson. You remember him from the Twilight franchise, who's tried to distance himself from the franchise as much as possible. It looks like some good acting from him during this trailer. But I really didn't understand the trailer where it was going. It's weird. It's a film by A24, and they are very well known for making films which, on the surface, don't look good, but end up being brilliant, like phenomenal, mind-blowing. The one that I can kind of state to that being is Swiss Army Man, which is just mind-bending. And this film looks like a neon-infused roller coaster ride. And I don't know. I will try and see this if I can, but I'm not overly attracted to the film.
Mm-hmm. You've got Ingrid Goes West and Logan Lucky official trailer 2 as well.
Yes.
What do you think of those?
Ingrid Goes West. I don't know if this is part of a franchise of films or whether this is just a standalone or TV spin-off. Possibly tying for the worst trailer of the week. Some of the worst acting I've ever seen. It looks like Bridesmaids if you took half the cast out and just left the annoying ones. It just looks like a pile of shite.
George, did you see Logan Lucky?
I did. Sorry, I can talk again. I was
back into the conversation.
Logan Lucky 2 actually, it's very funny. Although Daniel Craig's playing a character called Joe Bomb, which really annoyed me because he's also James Bond. It looks very funny. It looks like it could be a very comedy / heist film if they put it off properly. I'm intrigued. I want to see more. It stars Adam Driver with one arm. Maybe that happened to him in The Last Jedi, and it's a spin-off.
I am in car, sir. Rated.
It's about hillbillies, basically.
It's a hillbilly heist made by the same people who made the Ocean's films. So I'm down for that. I'll watch it.
Tate, A Bad Mom's Christmas Red Band trailer. What do you think of this?
Oh my god, this is the one which is tied for the worst trailer of the week. I didn't see the first Bad Moms film. I heard that it got mixed reviews. Some people saying it's a brilliant comedy, others saying that it is a worthless piece of trash. From not seeing the first movie, I'm siding with the worthless piece of trash. Literally, the entire trailer was these characters going out into public and getting drunk at Christmas. I think they've just taken the concept of the first film and moved it to Christmas. And it's all about mums who are bad. All they're doing is day drinking. Like, you see men do that all the time. Why is it suddenly bad? is just another film that is a cash cow trying to get money from a film that may or may not have made money on the first film's outing. It's just, yeah.
Speaking of films that should stop being made, we've got another Chucky movie coming out called Cult of Chucky. It's bringing back Brad Dourif as everyone's favorite murderous doll. You've also got Jennifer Tilly coming back. This is the 6th Chucky film, I believe. It's going to be a direct-to-video one, I think, like the previous one was. The Chucky doll looks really weird in this. They kind of cartoonified him. He doesn't look as menacing as he did in the first one. And I actually saw the first Child's Play movie, and it's laughable. It's like a dark comedy at this point. Clearly, there's still an audience for these. It's another horror anthology set of movies. It looks terrible. It looks so bad. Every horror cliche you can think of is in this trailer. I'm so done with this series now, and I think a lot of people probably are as well. George, we're now going to your deepest, darkest fear of the deep, sharks, with Open Water 3.
You guys made me watch this trailer, and I won't lie. Like, if you recorded it, like I was shitting myself, and it's probably gonna be a terrible film. It's probably gonna be a terrible film, but you know what? I was like getting physically like shaken and stirred, and I couldn't cope. And I sat through it. I got to the final of the trailer, but that was torture, man. You guys should feel ashamed of yourself.
The best way of describing it is it's a found footage shark film.
Mm-hmm.
And found footage horror is making its way more into the mainstream now. In fact, I think it is the mainstream horror at this present moment in time. So having that concept with George's deepest, darkest fear made for the most hilarious reaction that is such a shame that we couldn't have recorded, because me and Chris were pissing ourselves watching him looking absolutely terrified. And then when we watched the trailer ourselves, we saw that there was literally nothing to fear. In fact, there's one scene with a rubber dinghy shark.
That wasn't the scary bit, nor was the tsunami. It was when the shark was just mauling people's limbs off their legs. Basically.
Dude, you should watch Soul Surfer and you should watch The Shallows.
No, what I shall watch is Star Wars, where there are no sharks. There is merely lava.
Imagine the scenes if they bring sharks into Star Wars.
They have done in Clone Wars. There is a character that is a shark guy. They exist.
Yes, he was funny, but he died in Clone Wars too, which was great.
This is true.
Don't worry, his race still exists. They can bring it back.
Probably not.
Is this confirmed? Snoke is a shark.
Probably. But I don't know. The last trailer we need to talk about, I can't talk about this one. I haven't seen it. Pitch Perfect 3. I haven't seen Pitch Perfect 1 or 2. Last trailer we need to talk about, and we can move on. What do you think?
Why won't these films fuck off? Like, seriously. This is the whole Cars 2 thing going on right now, though. Because I believe Anna Kendrick's character is the main character in the first film. I'm not sure about the second film. But Rebel Wilson is the main character in this film. And we all know how that goes when you take a side character and make it a main character. So much fun. Seriously, screw these films. The first one was entertaining to a point. It is annoying when you watch it back. The second film is just, I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't. I was asked if I wanted to, and I was just like, no, I refuse. And this film I will also be refusing. This franchise is pretty much dried out now, so hopefully we won't be getting any more.
Right, guys, we have.
I was about to say this is going to be the Akka end of the franchise.
We have officially made it through the end of Trailer Talk. We had a ridiculous amount of trailers this week, guys, way more than usual. So we'll try and wrap this up as quick as we can now. Penultimate section now, box office breakdown. Sorry, George, you want to take this one?
I do. Obviously, box office. We report American Worldwide. Sorry, I was turning my mouse back on so I can scroll down. Main news story for this: Transformers opened at #1 in America, 69 million domestic. Lowest in the series, but however made 199 internationally, so it got about 270 weekend. It's still pretty high. It's only like 50. I think it's that high opening weekend than what Wonder Woman got worldwide, which says everything you know about this franchise still. And yeah, we're not going to get into discussion on the film. We've got a funny review on that. Chris got triggered a lot. I think that's one way of saying things. But Transformers, it's going to make its money back. It's not going to get $1 billion. It's kind of died a bit in America, but worldwide it's going strong, especially in China. They love their transforming cars, they do. And Wonder Woman, now the shock of the week. Wonder Woman's been out, oh God, almost a month now. Cars 3 was in its second weekend. Wonder Woman was in its fourth weekend. Wonder Woman beat Cars by $900,000, which is mental because it's still like nothing on Transformers. But to beat a Pixar film that's been out a week in its fourth or fifth that's some good going. And what I can say is that it's now crossed 650 million. It's going to catch Pirates this weekend. Pirates is swam to about 680. That's a terrible shit pun. I'll work on that for next time. But it's probably going to overcross 700. Domestic wise, this is what's big. It overtook Man of Steel. It's going to overtake Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. However, it's a long way behind their worldwide totals. And a final, almost done. Cars 3, I already said it. It drops to number 3 after a week, 24 mil, 90 mil domestic America. It's not out anywhere else, so we don't really have a worldwide total as such. But there's your box office breakdown. We are flying through. Weekend preview. This is going to depress everyone. Despicable Me 3 is to take number 1 with 90 million American box office. Probably going to get past 200 mil worldwide in its opening weekend, maybe 250, which is depressing. Equally depressing, Baby Driver's going to make a tenth of that. They reckon it's maybe going to make 20 million at a push in America. And it's meant to be
the original movie thing that Tate was saying. Original movies now, if it's not based on an original on a pre-existing was it IP? If it's not a sequel, if it's not a reboot, soft reboot, people don't care anymore, which is really.
I think the Despicable Me movie, or Minions, or whatever they're calling it, Despicable Modern Warfare 3, is going to break $1 billion.
No,
I think it's
Minions did. Minions did.
I don't think Despicable will. Because Spider-Man's out the week after, so all the kids will be at Spider-Man hype.
I still think that it will.
I don't think so. I don't know. It could, but I don't. It's not got that lasting lead of. It's going to have a week at the top of the box office. Then it's going to be sinking. Baby Driver, though, I think if you look into it, like Edgar Wright's a cult filmmaker. I hate the cult phrase; it's tripped around too much in film. But $20 million opening weekend. That's his highest opening weekend in America. He makes good films. It is sad, but I also think that first trailer for Baby Driver looks awful.
Yeah, I was going to say the advertising for this film has been just shit across the
board.
And
it's now, since these reviews have come in, now it's picking up word of mouth. The marketing was done wrong for this. They shouldn't have come out in June. Why June? Bad time for it, but I'm excited to see it. I don't know when I'm seeing it. Hopefully by the time we get the review out on Sunday. However, it's a shame about the money it's making, but at the end of the day, I prefer a good film over a box office hit.
Me too. Yeah. I think that pretty much covers everything on today's show, doesn't it? Considering a week of hardly any news that we said, is this the longest episode we've done based on the trailers? It has to.
I don't think so. Based on the trailers, yes, that's our longest trailer talk we've done.
It's 3 minutes shorter than last week's, which had the Han Solo news. 14 trailers, people. That's insane.
Yeah. We'll work on the structure for next time, we promise, guys. We'll try and get it through as quick as we can. George, you want to close us out then?
I was going to say I'll work on an outro, but I'm just going to sit there and say it. This has been another episode of Cinema Savvy News. We will be back next Thursday. Stick with us. Tomorrow we have a very interesting Mean Girls film club. Sorry, I was stuttered on the word then. I was too busy thinking about buying Crash Bandicoot. That's why, in honesty. We're going to be back next Thursday. I believe there's a great picture come back on Sunday. Tom postponed it for a week because he made a very funny Transformers video edited of himself and Chris. Tom's thoughts on the Transformers film, not that opinion of my own. Next week, I can announce it. Tuesday, Battle of the Brackets is back. Tate is crying already. I'm sorry, he did look his head down and shake, so I did think it already started. But no, join us Tuesday night, Battle of the Brackets. It's the 1 year anniversary of us doing the Battle of the Brackets show by a couple of days. It's going to be such good fun. He's getting absolutely triggered. We are arguing for Best Movie Badass. We're going to release a bracket online in the next couple of days. We're going to have a fun time. It's going to be absolutely insane. And there will be tears for everyone if they need them. Hashtag tissues for Tate.
No, hashtag day drinking.
What I will say, I will officially round out. There's a lot of shit coming on our channel. I said it last week. There's so much stuff now. I can't think of it. There you go. Just hit my head. Spider-Man trilogy review, Homecoming review, Baby Driver review, no Despicable Me 3 review. Stick with us. We've got stuff coming almost daily now. There's a couple of reactions going up tomorrow, and there will be more reactions, but I'm going to close out. We're all shattered. It's almost 12:30 over here in England.
Links in the socials as well.
Yes. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Instagram's good fun. Our thumbnail that we absolutely love and adore. We released a second one on Instagram. This week, it wasn't me being bitter about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy because there was a much better thumbnail on our Instagram, which we couldn't use for obvious reasons. But check us out on there. Hit the bell button for subs. Thank you for listening, I guess we can say, and we will see you next time.